Hey, this is Steve for myothercareer.wordpress.com, and I just wanted to touch base a little bit with the viewers or readers on what I've been doing lately. If you've been following the blog on a regular basis, you know that I've kind of been struggling with the outline for my current screenplay, which is Pride is Forever. I'm not going to bore you with the details. Every aspiring writer goes through this, even real writers. You know, it's kind of writer's block. It's kind of just not being able to get the details right, but I've finally gotten some progress on that, so if you're interested, you can check out some of the posts on that. But what I really wanted to talk about is kind of what I've been doing outside of writing the last couple weeks. I've really been on this hard-boiled detective movie kick. And I've found myself just moving all those movies from my Netflix queue to the top. And they're really starting to come in on a regular basis in my mailbox. So I've been catching, like, I caught The Long Kiss Goodbye, which was a 1971 movie based on the Philip Marlowe detective character starring Elliot Gould. I saw Bullet for the first time with Steve McQueen. I saw Serpico with Al Pacino. I just saw Dirty Harry for the first time last night. And a couple other movies littered in there. And it kind of goes back to when I first posted my review on The French Connection, which I didn't like at all, by the way. In case you're interested, you can read my review on that. But the more I watch these movies, the more I just wish there were some more hard-boiled detective stories that were coming out on film and in the theater. I really can't think of a whole lot in probably the last 10 to 15 years that can come to the top of my head. I guess you can consider Lethal Weapon from the 80s kind of hard-boiled, but even then that was too gimmicky, you know. I mean, in the 80s I can't think of anything. Seven, with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt, you could think is kind of like hard-boiled. L.A. Confidential, which again was in the 90s, that was kind of a hard-boiled detective story, but I'm really reaching to kind of find some modern-day hard-boiled detective stories that have been out. And I know there's got to be some out there that I've just missed or that I just overlooked. I know they're there, just because I know there's a strong enough interest in that type of story. I mean, if you look at TV shows, you know, your CSIs and your Law & Order, your procedural dramas that are law enforcement-based, people like detective stories, you know. Even Batman. Batman came out of the detective story comic book series, you know, so I know there's interest in that genre, but I've got to have just missed some of the more modern movies. So if you stumble across this video or you see this in the blog post and you can think of any, spit them out there in the comments, because I really want to know. I'd like to see some more recent ones. I've got plenty from the 60s and 70s and some from the early 80s that are still in my queue that are making their ways up. But there's got to be some more hard-boiled detective movies out there. And I don't care if they're Korean or Japanese or Hong Kong. I mean, I've seen some of the old, a lot of the action movies from the 80s and the early 90s out of Hong Kong, which I really enjoyed, like A Better Tomorrow and, well, Hard Boiled with John Woo and Chow Yun-fat. Actually, Chow Yun-fat's in A Better Tomorrow as well. But, you know, I don't care what country it's from. If you know of any, let me know, because I'd really like to check them out, at least until I get over this kind of hard-boiled detective story kick. So I hope everything else is going out for anybody out there. I've been in some really good email correspondences with a couple people who are kind of aspiring writers and starting to dip their toes into the process. And, you know, if you ever have any questions, let me know. And if I can't kind of get you started, I'll definitely point you to people who, you know, or give you some ideas for some books that'll help you start exploring that stuff. I had a couple people ask me about classes, and I mean, I don't know. I'm not a professional. I can't tell you what class is worth paying for and what not. I can just suggest some books, some good websites that, you know, hopefully can get you started and teach you the basics. But after that, you know, it's really up to you to figure out the rest. So, if like I said, don't feel scared to email me or drop a line in the comments. I'll always answer back. And if I missed an email me again. Maybe it went somewhere it wasn't supposed to go. I don't know. So, but I always enjoy hearing from people, especially anybody outside of the country or whatever that stumbled on the videos. It's just fun to talk to people in general about movies and films. So, until next time, keep writing.